about an old friend here. Aaron Rodgers came out today, Wednesday here, that the Vikings said, we're good. We're gonna roll with JJ going forward as our quarterback. We don't want to be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. From what we have heard, it seems as if the two teams that are the most likely landing spots for Aaron Rodgers happen to be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Between those two teams, which one do you think makes the most sense for Aaron Rodgers to land on?
Pittsburgh.
Dwayne said, thank God, literally made my day in regards to the Vikings saying no thank you to Aaron Rodgers.
I can imagine.
And I don't blame you for feeling that way. But Tim, you said which team?
Pittsburgh. I feel like initially when I thought about it, I was like, him and Tomlin might be water and ice. I mean, not water and ice. Water and oil. And I'm like, but then again, like Tomlin has been running that organization as a successful organization since he stepped foot in that organization. So there's going to be a level of respect that comes into it that Rodgers hadn't had to deal with yet, because it wasn't Mosalah's organization. He was just coaching it. It became Rodgers' organization here. Him stepping into a place like Pittsburgh where everybody know Mike Tomlin is no bullshit coach too. So it's like, what can he pull out of Rodgers in that type of environment with a team that also he wants to go to a winning team, or a team that has a chance to win, I should say. Pittsburgh is constantly in that position, and then adding someone like DK Metcalf does help their receiving core. They might draft another one. Oh shit, they might draft a quarterback though, like because they've been looking at
Ward or Sanders?
No. Just ran a 4.3 today. Quarterback. Shit, I was Alabama. Fuck. I'll find out. But no, because I think they got the number 5 pick, right? No, he's the 5th best quarterback in the draft. What? Jalen Milroe, yes. Milroe ran a 4.3 today. Unofficial 4.3. But the scuttlebutt right now is because he's only the third or fourth quarterback to run a 40. But he was like, hey, I'm going to run a 4.3 and prove to y'all that I'm fast as shit. So the unofficial time at Alabama's pro day is that he ran a 4.37 or something like that. But the scouts there, a couple other ones said he ran a 4.4. Like a 4.44. But that was the second run. So they like, well, the unofficial first one was a 4.3 and the second run was a 4.4. So
you said he's considered like the 5th best quarterback in the draft?
Yeah, and Milroe's nice. I think he's with Alabama. I'm almost sure. And Milroe's nice. He really is. He's just he got a couple cats in front of him, and so they've been saying like he been out to dinner with Pittsburgh and everything like that. Like he been out to dinner with Tomlin, the GM, and the president already. Shit like that. They've been doing interviews with him. Like him and Pittsburgh are like connected. So
I mean, I would imagine like he's more of a project quarterback anyway. So even if they do draft him, they still need a guy to start this year, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like last year with Wilson and Fields.
I feel like a better with like Kirk Cousins and with the Falcons, where it's like we drafted a young quarterback here, but we got the vet. I mean, even with Minnesota, that's why they got Darnold, because it was like, hey, if McCarthy needs more time, like we have a vet we can lean on here. But I think the Steelers make more sense, especially given the fact that the Giants are the 3rd pick in the draft. Like theoretically, I think they'll be able to get one of those top 2 quarterbacks if they want to go that way, because the scuttlebutt around like the top 3 picks, like what's the edge rusher? Carter, I think it is. He's somebody who I've heard like the Browns are interested in along the way here too, but like the Browns need the quarterback too, so it's a risky game of getting in there, because before you at the Giants you got the Titans and you got the Browns, and if either one of if Ward and Sanders go 1-2, it's not a surprise, then you out of luck. But like it can also be a thing where it's like one of them fall, but you can't bank on that. But football alone, I think that Rodgers makes more sense in Pittsburgh. He got to be outside. I could see him wanting to go to Minnesota to be in the dome and be able to have that going for him. But I think he makes sense in Pittsburgh, especially with them having Metcalf now over there as well. So Shell said the Browns are going to brown it and take a kicker.
Yeah. I think I think the Giants are more than a quarterback away from
Yes.
where they need to go. So I think they do need to go the draft route. They're in a decent position. Like you said, like it can kind of be blown up if quarterbacks go 1-2, but they're in a decent position to pick up a guy that can be like their franchise quarterback. Whereas the Steelers are who the Steelers have been basically for the last decade, where it's kind of like, hey, if we just get competent quarterback play,
Be really good.
this is a team that's built to win. I mean, Kim, you asked a question before we started, or not a question, but you guys were kind of having a conversation before we started where it's like people are kind of like down on Rodgers, where it's like, they kind of speak of him more,
like a bum.
Acting like he's Will Levis, and he's not.
He's not.
So like the comparison that I made earlier, which bear with me, but it's kind of like a baddie once she has, like once she reaches about 40 and like the suitors start to, she
Bernice Bogo,
like baggage, maybe has a couple failed relationships in the past, has a kid or two, like the stuff that people were willing to put up with when you were younger and more desirable, they're not willing to put up with that anymore. And you still think you the baddie because like this has been your existence for your entire life. And it's kind of like people be like, you know what? Not interested. I'm good. There are younger, more attractive options to me than you, and you come with the same amount of bullshit. So like that's where Aaron Rodgers is now, essentially, where it's like, yeah, if Aaron Rodgers hit the open market 4 years ago,
yeah,
he will, it will be the biggest bidding war we've ever seen. But he's not Aaron Rodgers of 3-4 years ago. He's the Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles that had everything that happened in New York last season.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no, Aaron Rodgers isn't like
he's not like he's not bad still. He just,
but he's probably like a top 15 to 20 quarterback that comes with the ego of a top 5 quarterback. And the production ain't matching.
That's fair. I think too for Rodgers, like I said, people I think have gone too far the other way on his play, especially given the fact that this was a 40-year-old man coming off of an Achilles injury this season, and he suited up for him consistently this year. And if you actually look at his play at the end of the year, as he continued to get more reps in coming back from that injury, the play was improved at the end of the year based on where he was at the beginning of the year too. So I see why the Steelers are like, we're going to wait on whatever Rodgers wants to do here, because we think, based on what we saw, he can be that guy who's competent enough to take us to the next level. And I've heard, I think I was watching NFL Network. I forget where I heard this from exactly. I'm sorry. I wish I could credit the original author of this, but saying like certain teams have an infrastructure to be able to absorb certain personalities. And like, they're like, hey, maybe it was NFL Network, because they were like, hey, look, the Bulls in the 90s were able to absorb Dennis Rodman because they had enough in their locker room. They had enough strong people around them to be able to absorb the personality of what Dennis Rodman can do. And the Steelers are a team with Tomlin at the helm. They're like, they can absorb it now. It's going to be tested with Metcalf and Pickens, and then you throw in Rodgers. Like, that could get explosive. But I could see the Steelers being like, we trust in our organizational structure to be able to absorb Aaron Rodgers.
So remember when I think it was before they actually made the trade, when it was the Warriors were talking about bringing in Jimmy, and we were like, Jimmy and Draymond, either they're going to be the best friends or they're going to be fighting before we get to May. I feel like it's both with Rodgers. Like, if Rodgers goes to the Steelers, he's going to be best friends with one of them receivers and the other one's going to want to fight him. I don't know which is which.
It might be the YN on the damn team, bro. Motherfucker want to fight every damn body.
Somebody gonna be upset.
Dwayne added, Rodgers ain't terrible. I'm just not here for the extra mess. Also, it's hard to hate a MF, then have to root for him. That is very fair. It's very hard to put years of animosity away of like, dang, now you on my squad.